Chapter 1 of Mental Fascination by William Walker Atkinson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Andrea Fiore. Chapter 1. What is Mental Fascination? Fascination means the act of fascinating, or state of being fascinated. The word fascinate springs from the Latin word fascinare, meaning to enchant, bewitch, charm by eyes or tongue, captivate, attract, etc. The definition of the English word fascinate is as follows: to act upon by some powerful or irresistible influence, to influence by an irresistible charm, to allure or excite, irresistibly or powerfully, to charm, captivate, or attract, powerfully, to influence the imagination, reason, or will of another in an uncontrollable manner, to enchant, captivate, or allure, powerfully or irresistibly. The above definition is condensed from a number of the best dictionaries, and gives the cream of the idea embodied in the word. My definition. In this manual I shall use the term mental fascination in the sense of the action of a mental force that powerfully influences the imagination, desire, or will of another. This is my own broad definition, which includes all the varied phenomena of personal magnetism, psychological influence, hypnotism, mesmerism, charming, etc., etc., all of which I hold to be but varying phases of phenomena of one force. These things are all a bit of the same piece, in spite of the claims to the contrary on the part of those who did not like the relationship. The nature of the force. What is the nature of the force which produces that which we call mental fascination, which latter I have defined as the action of a mental force that powerfully influences the imagination, desire, or will of another? Mental fascination is the manifestation. What is the nature of the mental force that powerfully influences? As you will see in some of the following chapters, there have been many theories advanced to account for this force, the theories varying from magnetic fluids to mere simple suggestions on the part of the influencing person. Nearly every writer on the subject has had his own pet theory, but although these theories varied and differed greatly, the effects produced were about the same, which naturally leads us to look for some common basic principle operating under all forms, regardless of the many theories advanced by those producing the effects. It is the old story here, as elsewhere. A man finds that he is able to produce certain phenomena by certain methods. He works along practical lines for a time, endeavoring to perfect his methods and increase the variety and effectiveness of the phenomena. When he has advanced along these lines, he begins to look around him for a theory to fit the facts of the case, and here is where he usually makes his mistake. He evolves some fantastic theory, which seems to him to account for the effects produced, and then he endeavors to fit the facts into the theory. If the facts will not so fit in, well, so much worse for the facts, and he either discards the non-conforming facts, or else ignores or denies them. This has been the course of theorists since the beginning. After a while, some man of a more scientific mind examines the recorded facts, and discovers the true underlying principle, and reconciles the differing theories of the original theorists by a new synthesis, which combines the true principles in all the other theories, discarding the pet hobbies or prejudices of the previous authorities. And so it is the case of mental fascination, as we shall see. The underlying theory. I shall not have much to say about theory in this book. I have explained the theory and principle underlying mental fascination in my larger book entitled The Secret of Mental Magic, of which this little manual is a sidelight. In that book I have explained the underlying force beneath all forms of mental magic, and mental fascination is one of those forms. It is the universal mentative energy, of which, and in which, each individual mind is a center of activity. I have also explained that the mentative energy of each individual mind is and may be transmitted from one person to another by means of mentative currents or waves, and that these mentative currents and waves tend to induce in the minds of other persons the emotions or feelings existing in the mental states of the person sending out the waves or currents. The mental poles. I have also explained that there are two mental poles, known as the motive and emotive poles, respectively, which manifest will power and desire force, respectively. Desire force acts in the direction of drawing, pulling, attracting, luring, coaxing, charming, etc., while will power acts in the direction of compelling, forcing, driving, impelling, commanding, demanding, etc. Desire always draws its object toward itself, while will always overpowers and compels its object, generally in the sense of driving it into action. In mental fascination both desire force and will power are employed, generally in combination. Desire force has been called the feminine phase of mentative energy, and will power the masculine, and in this as in everything else, the combination of those two qualities produces the most marked results. The student will be able to distinguish between the action of these two phases of the force as he reads the pages of this book in which instances of mental fascination are given. That is all that I shall have to say about theory in this book, except where the various points are brought out in illustrating the examples given. I must refer my students to my Secret of Mental Magic for details of theory and principle. The present book deals with the how rather than the why. End of chapter 1. Recording by Andrea Fiore.